And we're live Thursday night, 9 o'clock, South African time. It's time for the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. Great to have you with us for this Six Nations Round T2 preview. We've got three excellent games to look forward to. We're also going to talk Stormers and Bulls, although mysteriously, I haven't seen any betting yet. I'm not sure if any of the guys in the live chat have seen anything, but it's bizarre. The game's on Saturday, and I haven't seen any markets. Well, let's invite the guests. We were due to have two guests tonight. We've only got one. I can tell you that Oracle, I don't know if it's load shedding or if he hasn't paid his electricity bill, but he's got no power there. He said he might try and join in the comments. So he was going to make his comeback after a bit of a break on the show. But we've got a man who's been with us a couple of times lately, Alan Jackal Rugby. And Al, great to have you back on the show, mate. A cracking weekend of rugby to look forward to.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Brent. Yeah, should be a good one. I think after last week, guys have kind of jockeyed for position in Six Nations, and some lot on the line on all three games this weekend. And then, as you say, perhaps the Stormers Bulls, the betting. I know the sides haven't been released yet; they're only announcing them tomorrow, so perhaps that's why there's no betting out yet.
Yes, yeah, possibly, and also, maybe because normally they do come out early in the URC, but perhaps because it's the only game, it's a bit of almost a little bit of an afterthought. I must admit, for me personally, Stormers Bulls over the years has been a great clash, but with the Six Nations rugby, for me, it is also a little bit of an afterthought this weekend. But we will touch on that a little bit later. Just to welcome guys in the live chat. I see Mark there. Let's hope Mark doesn't get kicked out the show somehow or other. He often gets kicked off YouTube for absolutely no reason. So let's hope he can hang in there with us. And I just want to get my screen share set up so we can have a look at a little bit of betting on that as we go. And I've got my phone in the way here, so let me just move that. And yeah, so first of all, just last week, Alan, what were your thoughts on last week's game? I mean, a convincing win for France, comfortably beat the Handicap of 26 points against Wales. England, Ireland, at one stage, it looked like England might pull off an upset 10-5 at half-time, but then ultimately Ireland won it. England sneaking back on the Handicap in the end there. And what was the other one? Scotland. Who did they play against?
Italy.
Wales.
No, Scotland, Italy.
Scotland, Italy. And and that was Italy. I mean, 19-0 down in that game, and they actually came back at one stage to 19-0. Looked like they might cause an upset. What did you just sort of sum up the week for us while I pull up some outright betting?
Yeah, I think France, as good as they were, I think it's difficult at the moment when you play a Welsh team. I mean, you saw what we did to them at the end of last year. It's difficult to get too excited about a team that pumps Wales these days because they're so poor. But yeah, I mean, they did look good. I think Galtier will be quite angry with Intermac getting that stupid red at the end there. He's out for 2 weeks or 2 games. But in Jalabert, I mean, he's been in excellent club form, so they don't lose too much there. And the big one is Penno back on the wing, who doesn't stop scoring tries. Just ask the Sharks. And I think Italy perhaps showed that they are a bit of a different team. Italy sides in the past, I think 19-0 down, it would have been a hiding. But to come back to 19-all, they gave Scotland a big fright there. But I think that Hugh Jones, I really enjoy him. And I called a few weeks ago. I said that I think he'll be the Lions 13. And if he keeps playing like that, it'll be hard to leave him out. And then England, Ireland. I think England are just they're turning into a side who delivers sort of results like Ireland used to do, like glorious defeats. Go up at half time and then they just seem unfit, to be honest. And Borthwick, I know, has complained a lot when guys come into camp that he gets them like sort of unfit from their clubs. And, he's lost that SNC who won the 2019 World Cup, with us. And he's now with Ireland. And you saw Ireland come strong in the last 20. I think the difference was the bench. Irish guys off the bench were really good, whereas the England guys who came on sort of contributed to the tries that they conceded. So, very, very lucky weekend of rugby. And, I do enjoy watching the French. So I did enjoy my Friday night watching them clap Gatlin's Wales,
Yeah, I certainly enjoy that shirt you're wearing there. And I know you like my one, the Western Province one that I'm wearing.
Sure did.
Let's have a quick look at the outright betting. I'm just on BetExchange's website here. France just over even money at 21-20. Ireland 27-20. You can get 9-1 England, 11.5-1 Scotland, 449-1 Italy, and 474-1 Wales. I wouldn't back Wales with your money there, that's for sure. But interesting that both favourites have actually shortened. We had sort of 16-10 the pair at one stage last week. So obviously those were the two sides that impressed. And France into even money. I mean, it's, assuming they beat England, of course, all set up for a cracking match in Dublin this year. But if I have to ask you to pick between France and Ireland at this stage, are you in the French camp?
Sure. I think had it been in France, I would have said 100%. I think playing at the Viva makes it pretty much a coin toss, I think. I think that the sides are both very evenly matched, both well coached. Players are in form for their clubs. So, that is going to be a hell of a game. It might come down to whether they both go into it full strength. Whilst Ireland are a proper team, their bench and their reserve strength is probably not where it should be. Their strongest 15 is unreal, whereas France have got a lot more strength in depth, I would argue, if they were to lose one or two guys, But that will be an absolute humdinger.
Right. Well, I'm going to pull up the Six Nations match betting now. We'll get on to that. I'm going to start with Italy against Wales. This is, Alan, let's be realistic. What many are calling here the battle for the wooden spoon. This takes place at 4:15 South African time. And looking at the betting, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit because we can't, with the angle I've got, we can't see the point lines. But we've got Italy up against Wales, -5.5. I can tell you earlier in the week, I think it was -3.5, 4.5. Italy, money came for them. It went to 6.5. But I sense a bit of support now for Wales at the 6.5 level. We're currently sitting at -5.5 Italy. We've got a points line here of 46.5. What do you make of this one? I mean, both sides will be, they are going to be treating this almost like a final for them, because you've got to think that the loser will get the wooden spoon.
Excuse me. Yeah, 100% the loser will get the wooden spoon. Look, I didn't see much from Wales last week, and if you look at that Italian side, they've actually got a lot of threats in their backline now who are very solid, whereas Wales have brought in a newish guy at 12. And I know they've got Faletau back, but I mean, he hasn't played for Wales for over a year. So, I don't think he's the silver bullet for them. They just, I don't know I don't know what they do in their training camp, to be honest. I mean, whenever they show Gatland, they show their attack coach that I think is that King or whatever. But I mean, they just look completely toothless when they have the ball. They almost don't want it, but their defense is also poor. So you can't really make a case for them. And I think Italy at home is, even more of an advantage for them. Italy will be up for it. I think despite losing last week, I think they would have got a lot of confidence from coming from 19-0 down, and all their guys are ready to go. So, I think they could beat that handicap even. Wales will come out firing, I'm sure, in the first half, but I mean, you can only play on passion for so long. And as I say, I don't really see Wales's threat with ball in hand, it's very dark times for them, to be honest. And Gatland also seems to have checked out, and I'm sure that he's just picking up his massive salary every week or month whenever he gets paid, and he just seems like he's sort of laughed this whole thing off and isn't really bothered, how they go. I think they're just drifting. Their club rugby's has been struggling for a couple of years, and I think Italy will do the business here and cover that handicap.
Right, so Alan saying there, Italy by 6 points or more. I'm certainly not going to argue with you. I mean, Wales, yes, plenty of passion last week, but showed nothing on attack. I was on the under 14.5 Wales. I didn't expect it to arrive that easily, I must say. In fact, there was, I think, 16-1 France to win to 0. That, in retrospect, would have been the play last week. I do expect Wales to score points this weekend against Italy, but fancy that I'm also leaning towards Italy here on the minus. Points line here, Alan, we've got 46.5. I just quickly checked the weather. It looks as though there might be a little bit of a light rain about. For me, that points line looks about right. I can't see anything that really appeals. And yourself?
Yeah, I think, as much as, Wales I don't think they offer that much. I think there could be points here. I think both sides, try to, where they can, play it wide, especially Italy with, they wouldn't play Capuozzo if they were going to kick as much as, say, England do. So I think the ball will get some air. And I saw early in the week, the weather in Italy it looked like mid-teens. So, it could be a decent enough day. So yeah, even that points line could get taken as well. So yeah, but as I say, for this game, for me, I think the money should go on Italy covering that handicap.
Right, Italy on the handicap there for Alan. I must admit, he makes a convincing argument. I was kind of leaning in that direction as well. I probably don't see too much between these sides. In other words, something like the 1-12 winning margin might be interesting as well. Right, let's move on to England, France. That takes place on the Saturday, South African time at 6:45. This should be a cracking match. Alan, as you say, England have sort of made a habit of some glorious defeats. I did have it was my smallest bet of the weekend last week, but I had a nibble on them to win the game. I was actually in a pub, karaoke pub of all things, on Saturday night, but sort of watching the game from a distance there. And yeah, England 10-5 up at halftime. And next thing I looked up at the TV, it was like 28-10, something like that. I couldn't believe it. But it looked like a cracking game. Here we've got a handicap that also started around the 4.5 level. Also, I've seen moved out to 6.5, and it seems to have come back in and settled at the 5.5 mark. Suggesting, and I mean, this often happens in Six Nations, you very seldom get massive betting moves because everybody knows what teams are going to be playing. There's no surprises, really. So the bookies are generally quite spot on with the handicap. That doesn't mean the game will finish close to the handicap. It just means that there's support for both sides. So we've got 5.5. We've got a point sign of 48.5. I can tell you this has moved quite a bit. It was highlighted in the forum by the Admiral, last week's guest. And also Southpaw highlighted France over 24.5. And both of those lines moved off, I'd say, within a couple of hours of when the guys got their money down and put it on. So we've got a points line now of 48.5. Can England stay within the handicap? And if so, can they win the game?
In a word, no. I think Penno in for France is huge. Up against Slatome, who, as his name suggests, he's not the biggest. He's incredibly fast, Slatome. I'll give that to him. But I think he could struggle to contain Penno. I would put massive money on Penno to score. And I just think this French side they're just too big. And if they try and do that bring on all, 6 of their bomb squad at once, like they did against Wales, that could demoralize England further. I think England will have to get a good start, and then they weren't able to do it last week, but then perhaps hold on to that lead. I mean, that England-Ireland game was, I suppose it was fairly dramatic, but there was a lot of kicking. Those two sides kicked the most out of hand last week. So, there was a hell of a lot of kicking, and, I mean, that's just what England do, it just shows how Borthwick just brainwashes these people. I mean, Mitchell's value for Northampton is his sniping. Harry Randall's basically a dwarf, so I mean, all he can do is snipe and play quickly. And then last week, I mean, he was taking 5-6 seconds every time to put a box kick in when they're 15 points down. It was bizarre. So, I see Randall's on the bench again this week. They've dropped a Curry and brought in Willis to play 8, I think, with a view to trying to get some gain line dominance. But, I mean, against Miafu and these chaps, I just think England are going to have to tackle like hell. And, Ramos doesn't miss. So, that always adds pressure. If they do get field position, they can kick the three at will. And I see England, they've a lot of talk about it early in the week, but they're playing both Smiths. So Marcus Smith has moved to fullback, Finn Smith and playing 10. So that tells me that maybe Borthwick will let them play a bit, because Marcus Smith, the only good things England did in the Autumn Nation Series was when Marcus Smith just said, to hell with it, I'm going to try and do my own thing here. So, France do, like, especially with Dupont, they don't really kick to contest, they kick long. So, Smith could have a bit of space to counter attack. So, that could be interesting. But yeah, I think France are just too good. They, when they would play there 2 years ago, they gave them 50. So they'll have good memories of that. And yeah, as I say, Penno is just an absolute, game breaker, game changer. And I will be amazed if he doesn't score on Saturday night.
And just having a look here, and I'm going to go down and probably get you a price on Penno to score. Over 28.5 points. So the Southpaw got over 24.5 early in the week. So definitely grabbed.
Ooh, that's really good, yeah.
28.5, we're now getting to obviously more than 4 converted tries. Which is, it gets a bit tricky. I see France over 3.5 tries at even money. By the way, I'm on PokerBet site now. They've got very good markets when it comes to the rugby points. But let's just skim down. I just want to see if they've got anytime try scorer, Penno, so even money. Okay, yeah. I must say one thing about these try scorer markets, they don't give money away on these things, but he's even money to score at any time. But let's see, he's 15-2 or 7.5-1 to score the first try. And let's see, you reckon he can score 2 tries or more? You can get 5.5-1 on him scoring 2 tries or more against England.
Yeah, I may try and see if I can get Penno 2 or more and BRA as well to score on the other wing. That could be a good one for me. I just think when they smash you up front, and then those 2 guys on the wings, they're deadly finishers. So yeah, I think France will get around 30 points perhaps. Yeah, so I'm going huge on France this weekend.
Right, big on France. Henrik saying 24.5, 28.5. It doesn't make a difference. Henrik, are you saying there that it's not going to make a difference because France are soaring over the 28.5 point mark, or just because you're not expecting any penalties or anything? Johan just making a comment on the Italy game, say 112. Oh, things going too quickly. Now, Blake Cleaver coming in. He's saying England half-time, France full-time. Let's quickly look what will price for that for you there, Blake, as a matter of interest. I'm just going to see. I imagine it'll be a reasonable price. Let me actually go to, while we're talking, I'll go to bet exchanges on that. Well, what have I done? I clicked the wrong thing there. We'll have a look. 2M System saying Penno to score 2 or more and to make 2 tries. Farid says Viva France. And Johanna is also saying France points. So it looks like everyone firmly in the French camp. So yeah, and I must admit, it doesn't take much to get me in the French camp as well. So yeah, should be a good one. And I guess the only question is how many points England contribute. I just want to have a quick look and see if I can find this half-time, full-time. Here it is. Yeah. So it's the home team to lead at half-time, and then the away team 4.8-1, just under 5-1. Probably around about what I expected. I would have been hoping for about 11-2 or so there. Anything else on this game before we move on, Al?
Yeah, I'm always, I'm always on ref watch, and I see that the Georgian Stallion is reffing, Amashikeli, so I do enjoy him. I think he takes good control of the game. It's bound to be fiery up front, so yeah, it should make for a good game. I really enjoy the way he refs. So yeah, I think that's an added bonus for the biggest game on the weekend.
And I agree with you. I like him a lot. Henrik just coming in to also clarify his comment. France overs no matter what. Take the points, not the tries. Now, this is interesting because you've got to assess if there's going to be 3 pointers. And I agree fully with Henrik here. If you take over 3.5 tries at even money, rather take the over 28.5 points because there's bound to be a couple of French penalties in there, and they have an excellent kicker. So they will take their 3 points, particularly early on. So I agree with you fully there, Henrik. rather take the overs and move that off my way. And then Farid reckons France by sort of 20 plus. Right, that takes us then on to Sunday's game. Just a reminder, last week we hit the newsletter bet, by the way. Well, one of my newsletter bets, my best bet was Scotland under 36.5 points. And I think it was 19-0 after about 14 minutes or something. I thought I was absolutely dead in the water. But somehow Italy managed to keep them out. And in the end, that bet arrived. If you're not on my mailing list yet, there's a link to that, a free betting newsletter. It's free for a reason. You're not going to make yourself a fortune following it. But no, certainly like to talk betting and get on that mailing list, and you'll get the mail on Friday sometime. Right, let's talk about the next game, though. It's Scotland against Ireland. This game, South African time, 5 o'clock. Earlier on that morning, South Africans would have been getting up to watch Dricus du Plessis up against Strickland in the UFC. Let's hope we're in a good mood for this one. We've got a kickoff at 5 o'clock, and I'll tell you the handicap now. I think it's also sitting at around the 5.5 point mark. Yes, it has also, a bit like the England-France game, it's kind of moved around this mark and settled at the 5.5. The interesting thing is 43.5 points. Southpaw highlighted the overs, and I think it's been quite surprised it hasn't moved. And I'm tend to agree with Southpaw on this one. I think this could be more open than perhaps the bookies are thinking. Historically, there have been a lot of low-scoring games between these sides. I totally understand the quote. But I've already got money down here, Alan. I've gone over 43.5. What are your thoughts on this game, both from a handicap and a points point of view?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying in terms of the history, but, this is the best Scottish side they've had maybe ever. They 1990 they won a Grand Slam, did they? But these oaks won't win a Grand Slam, but they're a proper team. Their pack, often their Achilles heel is actually not too bad, but I think I will give Ireland. I think Ireland will win this. I just think they're more accomplished across the board, and I still think, although Hugh Jones, scored a hat trick last week, I do think they miss Tui Pelatu just to get them gain line as a 12, and I think Scotland wobbled a bit last week against Italy, so they'll be determined to try and put it right. But I just think, if you look the classic, if you look at the teams on paper, Ireland, I think should do this.
Yeah, Henrik.
Sorry, you asked on points. I think there could be quite a few points here. Both sides play, like to play attacking rugby. So I think the points could be the one to go for. Yeah,
I'm on the over 43.5. I have got that preview up on Good for the Game. Also running a Six Nations blog. Not that much to report about it. And also we'll post on the we'll post a preview on the Stormers game as well. Henrik is saying that Tui Pelatu, he's the Islander of Scotland. Fully agree, Henrik. I was actually eyeing out some Scotland long-term markets, and when I heard he was out the tournament, I absolutely changed my mind on that one. But on the overs, I am very much leaning towards Ireland on the handicap here as well. I just think they're going to be that touch too strong. As strong a side as Scotland have now, you mentioned it now, Alan, they wobbled a bit. The fact that Italy came back to 19 all last week worries me, because I think you're not going to get a 19-0 lead against Ireland, and if you allow Ireland into the game in that sort of way, they're going to put you to bed. So very much looking forward to this one. Main interest will be on the overs, but also perhaps looking at Ireland on the handicap as well. Brings us then to the end of the Six Nations chat. I'll ask you for your sort of best players at the end, but let's just talk a bit of Stormers v Bulls. We haven't seen any team news, and I don't know, guys in the live chat, anybody seen any betting? I had a look before the show. I haven't been able to see any yet. I priced this game. I thought Stormers might be plus 4.5. In other words, I was expecting the Bulls perhaps to be favoured for this one. What are your thoughts on this? Because it's obviously a make-up game in the URC, but a very important game for both sides.
Yeah, so this should have been played in round one, but it was the Currie Cup final. So our sides didn't play in round one of the URC. I think the Stormers are hamstrung by injuries. I mean, jeepers, they've got they just haven't caught a break, and they've got a lot of backs out. So the word is that De Wet won't play our best 9. It'll be Ungara starting. So I presume Dobbo will, he'll try and get him to box kick them to death. Hopefully put pressure on Sergio Peterson, who'll probably start for the Bulls. And yeah, I think big news for the Stormers is Dan du Plessis back. We've missed him. He's been out for quite a while, since the Sharks game, I think it was, with a knee injury. So having him back is good. Matthias at 10 with Libok out, which is a huge concern for me. And probably bigger than that is no Schikkerling, who's also out. So yeah, it'll be Murat and Van Heerden in the locks. And also no Ruan Nel, who's our defensive leader, is also a big issue. And then another issue is Neertling Forshire is still struggling with concussion. I was at the HBC on Monday. I saw him there. He looked fine, but yeah, he hasn't come through that. So Malhaba will start, and then Sunday will be on the bench. And yeah, the Stormers pack, their starting pack will be decent, but anyone who's scrumming against Volko is going to have a hard day. And it looks like Satoli will be up against Volko, so he'll have his work cut out. And the interesting one will be battle between the number 8s. Both went to Paul boys. Evan Rust is older, and he's, I know he's been injured, but he's fallen way behind the pecking order in the Bok mix behind Hanekom. So that should be a hell of a battle between those two. Yeah, I think this, Stormers have got a great record. They've only lost one of the last 8 to the Bulls. Playing at home, it looks like it'll be packed, and I will be part of that crowd. So, yeah, I think the Stormers just through bloody mindedness, I think will pull perhaps a surprise win out the bag here, and really do their URC chances good for to qualify, because they're game down. One win in such a tightly congested sort of positions, 3 to 8. You go, you jump big time. So, yeah, this is a massive game, as always, and yeah, there'll be a huge crowd as always, and I think that could actually be the difference between the two.
Right, well, looking at the betting, yeah, Ben, thanks very much. Ben coming on and saying Sporting Better Archie. They've Stormers even money, Bulls 5 to 6, 18 to 1. The draw handicap plus 1.5. Stormers at 4 to 5, 8 to 10, and Bulls a minus 1.5 at 10 to 11. So yeah, Bulls slight favourites there, but very, very much a choice game. If you fancy the Stormers at this stage, you can get even money. I would suggest probably hanging fire. You might find you can get anything up to about 12 to 10 if you like the Stormers on the board. Fareed reckons Stormers will bring strong defence, but might not be enough. Johan likes the Stormers to win, and Stefan Joubert says Bulls by 1 to 12. Right, well, that's the some great rugby to look forward to. It does kind of feel a little bit weird just only having the one URC game, and I think it kind of explains why the bookies have been a bit, let's call it a little bit lazy with their pricing this week. Alan, let's get in now to the best. If you have to say your best players of the weekend, what are your most confident picks of what we discussed on the show?
Yeah, okay. So I think I will say Italy by 1 to 12, Peno to score 2, and Ireland to cover the handicap.
So let's do this, Alan. Let's work out. Let's work out what I'm going to go to poker bet, because they got, as I say, they got good. I like the way they bet on the actual points lines. Let me go back here. And what am I doing here, man? Let me just go down here. I want to see all 3 games. Rob, give me your bet here. Italy by 1 to 12. Eh?
Yeah. Peno to score 2.
1 to 12, I think.
2 or more.
Okay. Let's go Italy 1 to 12. They got 27 to 20. What I noticed with poker bet on the 1 to 12, they don't quote the draw. So I think it'll draw, you'll get your money back. You can get a bigger price on the 1 to 12, but that includes the draw. So it's not bad. You don't get the draw. So that's 27 to 20. You reckon Pinot to score 2 tries or more?
Yeah.
Let's have a look at what that. Let's have a look. I think we said that was about 5 to 1 or so. Oh, I'm in the right place. Yeah, let's have a look. It's too far to my computer here. Race 2. There we go. France last scorer. Here's the multiple. England first. Where are we now? Oh, here we go. 2 tries or more. 11 to 2. We throw that into the multiple. And your final game, you said?
Ireland to win by more than 5.5. So
more than the handicap. Okay, let's go in here. Let's have a look. Scotland, Ireland -5.5. It's 5-6. Okay, we'll throw that in. We'll throw that in there, and your multiple comes to 25-1. Alan, not bad.
Okay.
And let's go have a look at what some of the other guys.
With that,
Yeah, nothing. I might just throw that one into the old newsletter. Blake saying France and Ireland seem to beat the overs. By the way, Henrik, as you saw me post up there, he's very, very strong on the Bulls at those prices. 2M System says France by 15 plus, Ireland by 15 plus. Grenoble, we haven't discussed that game, by 15 plus. There is rugby, of course. Even if I say there's only 4 games on the weekend, of course, there is more elsewhere in some of the French leagues and the like. France and Ireland to dominate and do the business, says Fareed. Check out Georgia to beat Netherlands by 50 points. If you're betting on Georgia v Netherlands, you might want to phone the gambling hotline. You've got yourself a serious problem. Great value in Japanese League One. Okay, Fareed.
Yes, no. Sorry, Brent. I was going to mention that. I've been doing a Saffers Abroad, the weekly piece for SA Rugby Mag. So I've been keeping my eye on the Japan League. The Springboks they're killing it there. I was going to say maybe there's value in putting money on Jesse Creel to score. They are playing on Saturday at 7:10 against Malcolm Marx's team, the Spears. So Jesse Creel, him and Fuff play for the Cannon Eagles. So I'm gonna put a few bob on him to score against Malcolm Marx and the boys.
Let's see. I've never looked at him. I've never
in the
looked
last
at
3 weeks. So he's in form.
Okay, so I see PokerBet have got betting on the game. I haven't ever bet on the Japanese league, so they haven't got players up yet. So possibly, but keep an eye on that. There's a good chance they will. I just want to go through your Hans weekly treble. France over 28.5 points. Scotland, Ireland over 43.5. Stormers to win should be around the 6-1 mark. Yes, I think you might even get slightly better, maybe around 13-2 there. DSTV cover at least one Japanese game. I didn't realize that, so I'll certainly be looking out for that. I have watched a little bit in the past, but certainly not religiously there. Alan, just talking of your blogs, I've got to say you gave me one of the great laughs last week when we were heading into the Six Nations, where you started speaking about, I think it was close to your opening paragraph, and you sort of said something along the lines of, with the Northern Hemisphere side having one World Cup between them, the Six Nations is where they go to look for trophies. And then you listed all the trophies that are available in the Six Nations. I really enjoyed that. Did you get any comments on that? Because I'm sure a few of the Northern Hemisphere guys might have taken offense.
No, there are lots. Just about, Scotland play, every game Scotland play, it's for a trophy.
Yeah. So, yeah, in between World Cups, they can at least collect something.
Yeah.
Excellent, man. Well, listen, Al, thanks very much. It's been great having you on the show. I look forward to having you on again, and enjoy the weekend, and we'll look out for you in the crowd there at the Stormers game against the Bulls. It should be a cracking match as well. Thanks to the guys in the live chat. Fareed, go get some sleep. By the looks of things, you've got a hell of a rugby betting weekend with Grenoble, Japan, all sorts of things. Netherlands and Georgia. You've got a hell of a weekend ahead of you. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week for the Handicap Rugby Chat that matters. And I'll bring up one comment before we leave, because I think it's a good comment to bring up. Henrik Swart, and this is a compliment indeed, coming from the unders taker there, Alan. He says, Alan is top class, so very nice. Thank you, Henrik. And now I will end the